Give me the argument, the best argument you know, for the power of cinema.
What's up, bro?
What's up, bro?
And welcome everybody to Peliculas with the Bros. My name is Adrian.
My name is Ivan.
And Peliculas with the Bros, it's a podcast. It's a show of sorts where me and my brother talk about movies that we like, movies that we watch primarily. But before we get into it, Ivan, actually, what movie are we doing today?
The Last Duel, directed by Ridley Scott.
Yes, but before we get into that, let me just say, if you like these kind of things, if you like podcasts about movies, movie reviews, if you like to have your hand on the pulse of culture, then you're in the right place.
Yeah.
Peliculas with the Bros. Please smash that subscribe button, hit the like button. It really helps us out. And yeah, let's get into it, Ivan.
Huh.
But before we get into it, actually,
Oh my God.
even before, it's the segue between the segues. You know
The
what I mean?
preamble.
The preamble. How you doing, Ivan?
Great. Good. Alive.
How's the week going for you so far?
It's like I have a groove. Just like week, next week. You know, nothing in the horizons. Thank God. I like when I don't have to do anything besides what I have to do. Like, I don't want to include someone else's stuff into like.
So you didn't like the wedding?
That's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I did have, you know, those ruts you have of like, I feel like I'm not doing anything.
All right.
I had that the past 2 days and I corrected it today. And it's like, wow, it's just a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And once you have a particular mindset, you can do many things, including not feel depressed, which is ideal, you know.
Optimal.
You don't necessarily want to feel depressed.
But that's where the greatest art comes from.
Yeah. Tangent. Every truly great musician has experimented with heroin.
Well, not Kanye.
If he's sipped lean, he has.
The cousin of heroin, some say.
I don't know, but I have there's an idea in my head that makes me say it's basically heroin.
Maybe. I don't know.
So, vis-a-vis Argo, Pig Latin,
What's your point?
Lil Wayne, and Mick Jagger
Mm-hmm.
are very similar.
Okay.
Mic drop.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
All right.
The movie we're doing today is not Películas with the Bros. The movie we're doing today is
The Last Duel, directed by Ridley Scott.
yes. This is a movie that just came out in theaters, starring our boys, a couple of our boys.
Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, what's Adam Drivey?
Just a Y at the end of everything.
Yeah.
It's a good way to make it.
Cute.
That's like our brand of boys.
Yeah.
How we make it our boys or our girls. And our girl, Jodie Comer.
I don't know her, so she doesn't get a
Jodie
nickname.
Comer. Anyways, the premise of The Last Duel. Let me. The Last Duel is a movie that just came out, right?
Yeah.
It's a medieval set movie.
France.
1300s. You get the deal. Think horses,
Knights,
swords,
knights, squires,
and-
lords,
and
adultery.
yes. It's quite a modern story at its very base core structure.
Yeah.
The premise of this movie is, in one of the last trials by combat authorized by the French King Charles VI, two men, Sir Jean de Carouge and Jo Legris, must fight to the death after Carouge's wife Marguerite accuses Legris of rape.
Most heinous crime.
They did this, say that, right? You've been charged of the most heinous crime.
Yeah.
What do you think about verbiage back then?
I like it. It's like our slang. Like we probably, if they listen to us, they're like, what are these weirdos saying?
I wonder if it would sound basic to them, like, or improper. It would sound improper, right?
I don't know.
Or would it just sound off?
I think off. Because I don't think it's stupid for us to be like, to have like a base vocabulary and not try to stretch it out with big words. Or be like howdy doody about it. Just efficient, if anything.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a certain like romanticism and grandeur about how they used to speak. But I wonder if at that time they saw it as that. And they're like, this is just the way this is speaking. But now we look at it as very illustrative.
Extra.
Yeah, extra. See, he just did it. A better word. Efficiency. Well, yeah, what is a better word? Illustrative or extra?
I mean, extra is kind of slang.
Yeah.
For us, I think it's like the perfect word for it, but I don't know what. You'd have to look in the dictionary for.
What am I trying to accomplish by saying a fancier word than extra?
Give your verbiage a little spice.
I think it does help, like. Well, I guess as long as you're conveying what you're trying to say.
I think sometimes there's just like a word that's so perfectly what you're trying to say, but it's a little bigger than usual.
Yeah.
That's like when I use it. But other than that, I'm not trying to be like the biggest word ever in every sentence. Just sometimes a word's so perfect has to be said.
Yes. Like it.
It?
Yeah. The word it is just, it really hits.
It.
What was the other? There's a word that I just found out what it meant, even though I've heard it like countless times. And I'm like, oh, that's what it means. And it was a word like that they used to use in like stories like not fourscore, but it's like it's almost like a beginner. You would say it in front of a different
henceforth.
Word. No. It's like something with four. I forgot, dang it. But it's
forlorn.
Weird. No. Dang it, I forgot. We're not gonna remember here. But it's interesting how words, like you read them, and you're just like, I seen you before, but I still don't know what you mean, and I'm not gonna care to look you up.
I've been trying to, like, whenever I see a word that I don't really know, I make sure I try to Google it. Because a lot of times I figure out the word by, like, the words around it.
Yes.
And it works, like, 99% of the time.
Yeah.
I think just literally looking at the definition will make it better for my head.
Sometimes I look at the definition, I'm like, why don't they use that word that they're saying?
Right. I've been wanting to read the dictionary forever.
Pull a Malcolm X.
Yeah.
Nice.
But sounds boring.
It is quite boring. I'm sure you'll pull some nuggets from there. But it's like you have to use it. It's more get a word, get one of those apps like new word of the day. And then use it every day.
I try to get those apps, but they never work like how I want them to work. Like I want them to like hit me with a word I have never seen.
Right.
But it's always like appendage. Like I know what that word means.
Right.
Give me something difficult.
Yeah.
I think I'm just like too smart or something.
It happens, man. Sometimes you're just too smart for things.
Happens a lot.
Anyways, The Last Duel. The cast, let me just say it again. Matt Damon as Sir Jean de Carouge, Adam Driver as Joe Legris, Jodie Comer as Marguerite de Carouge, Ben Affleck as Count Pierre de Alcon, would you say it like that? Harriet Walker as Nicole de Boucard. that would be Matt Damon's mom in this movie. And of course, directed by Ridley Scott. Written, this is a biggie right here. Written by Ben Affleck, Matt Damon,
Both of them?
and Nicole Holfenser. Holfensener.
Who's that?
She wrote and directed a couple movies, I believe. But this is their first movie that they wrote since Good Will Hunting. So they both wrote that movie.
Comeback Kids.
Comeback Kids.
That's funny.
Interesting movie to come back to. We could talk about that in a bit. But before we get to that, Ivan, what did you expect coming into The Last Duel?
Some medieval action.
Some good old wholesome medieval action?
I thought it would be a little more hammy. Like I thought it would be too like, because obviously it's very relatable to our cultural zeitgeist.
Nice. I'll use that tomorrow.
So I thought it would be like super like obvious about it, but just like a story. It wasn't too like shoving it in your face sort of thing.
Yeah. And even though it's set in the medieval times, they don't go, we were just sort of making fun of it, but they don't use too much illustrative wording, Shakespearean quoting, and even the accents, like the accents aren't really there because it's set in France, but they're just using like
British.
Not even British, is it?
Something like that.
Well, yeah. Some kind of mix of European and American.
Yeah. It's like, it's not the point, you know?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Right. They're like, this is a movie. Let's just do it the best we can.
Yep.
I don't think we want to hear Matt Damon in an English accent. That'll feel weird. Yeah. I also thought it might be a little bit more on the medieval side. I didn't think it was going to be as interesting as it was. As shall I say, as good as it was.
Whoa.
Big word of the day right there.
There it is.
What'd you think about the movie?
I liked it. I thought it'd be good, but before I heard like it didn't do well in the box office. So I was like, oh, maybe it's not too good. But I watched it and I was like, oh, pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I was in it from the jump. The movie looked beautiful. Of course it will, because Ridley Scott's directing it. So, he has his team on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual story was compelling, and the way they told the story was surprisingly compelling for me. For those of you who don't know, so the movie's about an accused rape.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the main characters are the husband, the wife, and the perpetrator.
Yep.
And they decide to tell the plot of the movie revolves around the telling of
The story.
said night
Yeah.
of the incident of the sexual encounter, but they do so in three different ways. They tell the husband side of the story,
Mm-hmm.
the wife's side of the story, and the perpetrator side of the story. Not in that order.
Why didn't you just say it in
forgot.
order?
I was talking, and it just came that way. What can I do?
Fix
I'm
it.
not a razzmatazz jazzmatazz. You know what I mean?
So when you edit it, it's like clink clink.
But then
think-
you're the one that said, "Why'd you say that order?"
Well,
I'll leave that in, and it's gonna be more confusing.
this part out, and we're back at it.
Well, they tell the story in the order of the husband first,
There
the
you
perpetrator
go.
second, and the wife third.
Because that matters.
It does.
Matters.
It does. But it doesn't matter when I'm just saying how they said it.
But then you gotta. It doesn't matter.
I know. It doesn't.
Whatever.
Which I thought was pretty unique until I read some reviews, and they're like, this this does it how Rashomon does it, which I have Rashomon over there, and it's a Japanese movie. I think 1950s. I believe Akira Kurosawa, the acclaimed director, made it one of the greatest movies of all time. I got the Criterion Collection of edition, but the way they told the story was compelling. It's different than I've seen it before, and it was cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a movie like that where they tell a story 3 different ways?
Nope.
It has kind of the Tarantino vibes in the sense of like, oh, we're going to tell you 3 different stories, but it's actually the same exact thing.
But their perspective.
Correct. The key part. And I was also reading some reviews, and they were saying that some people thought that the retelling of the same perspective or of the same incident in different perspectives was redundant.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see that, but I feel like that person's considered a doofus.
An idiot, some would say.
Some would say that.
A knucklehead McSpazatron.
Wow. That reminds me of the scene where Bender in 16 Candles? Breakfast Club was like, you're a blah, 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 blah. And everyone's like, what is that? And the guy and our boy John made up that verb.
Oh, I stole mine from SpongeBob.
What is it again?
Knucklehead McSpazatron.
Knucklehead
SpongeBob movie.
The movie. Got to revisit that one day. But yeah, I could see why some people would think that, but it adds so much depth to the story.
They didn't retread too much. Like, they followed one guy's, like, his literal perspective and how he went through, the husband, how he went through, like, the events. Then it went to the next guy, and he's obviously living his own life. So you see, like, the overlap of, like, what's going on, but there wasn't too many scenes where it was, like, literally the same footage.
Right.
Because a lot of the times, even if it was the same footage, it was, they were saying different things because they were, like, having different perspectives.
Yes.
Like, when they finally meet again after that 1 year, like, the first guy, it showed, like, let there be no ill will. And then the second guy's perspective, he said it.
Yes.
The woman's perspective, someone else said it.
Yeah.
So it's, like, the same scene, but, like, that's the point, like, the little things like that.
Yeah. And the editing was well done, given that, you know, like, they had to pick and choose what to put in.
Mm-hmm.
And they did the movie justice by not retreading too much, only when they had to.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, masterful editing, some might say. Let's take a quick break, and we'll get right back into this great movie. So Matt Damon in this movie plays the husband, Carouge. He sees himself, since it's the first story told, he sees himself as sort of a noble guy, a man in love, a man with a wife that loves him, and a guy who just is sort of down on his luck when it comes to his financial status.
Like, he thinks he keeps getting dealt a bad hand.
Right.
And it shows that from, like, his perspective, where everyone's out to get him, and he doesn't know why.
Correct. But then when we look at when they retell the story in Legree's version, we see a slightly different take on who Carouge is, and even who Legree himself is.
Mm-hmm.
Carouge is shown in Legree's eyes as sort of like a dumbass.
You said that so weird.
I know. Because he does things sort of recklessly.
Yeah.
And he probably sees them as like he put himself in the situations, in the negative spots he is in today.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because it's already showing you like how much perspective matters.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Legree, he's a playa please.
Mm-hmm.
He's Big Daddy Kane,
Mm-hmm.
1980s rap game.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Driver in this movie, wow, he's really laden on thick with the suaveness.
He's a beast. Like on screen, he was like, poof, like doom, doom,
Yeah.
doom, doom.
Well, yeah, he's 6'4", and then he puts on all his armor, so it's like, all right,
Yeah.
you're 6'8", basically.
He's like wide shoulders, and like his hair just gives him even bigger, like a
Proportions.
profile.
Yeah,
It's like Jesus Christ.
I know.
What a beast.
And according to Carouge, when Marguerite retells him what happened between her and Legree, according to Carouge, he can't believe it at first, but the way he does it is he grabs her, not like forcefully, but just he grabs her like, tell me this is the truth, or tell me you're not lying. And then according to
His wife.
Marguerite's version, he's choking her.
Yeah.
That's crazy, because in Carouge's eyes, he sees himself as this
Noble.
very
Yeah.
noble man that loves his wife. But according to Marguerite's telling, he's violent. He's actually kind of crude.
Yeah, he kind
in
of
every
sucks.
way.
Yeah. He's an idiot.
And I don't know about you, but at first I was like, okay, I like Matt Damon. Like I like this Carouge guy.
Yeah. Like I could tell he was like an idiot
Right.
bit, but when it was her perspective, it was like, wow, this guy's just dummy McDumber.
And yeah, and by the time it got to her perspective, even before that story was told in her perspective, I knew where it was gonna go. I knew that they were gonna show like, oh, you think Legree's just a bad guy? No, Carouge is actually a bad guy as well, which was disheartening, but it was smart because it just shows like every girl had it bad back then.
Yeah. And they still do.
Do they now?
How cultural, how political.
Is it a hot take to say that Scott is basically saying, you think you have it bad now? Look how bad it was 500 years ago.
I don't think it's like that.
Okay.
I think it's like this pattern of women having it bad has been going on forever.
Gotcha.
It was just really bad back then, but it's still bad today.
What if you just like go to the movie and you're like, see?
Women should be grateful.
Scott gets it.
Oh, God.
Tell the truth, Scott.
Yeah.
That's horrible. I don't take that theory myself, but
I don't take sides here.
I'm just saying that. But yeah, I think like I said, the way they tell the story is very, very effective. Once we get to Marguerite's telling of the story, it gets very harrowing for everyone. The audience and Marguerite especially. Her encounter with Legree is so different. And I don't know. Is it kind of obvious that it's that different, or do you see where Legree can sort of interpret different things different ways? Like, because then the level of stupidity comes into play. Like, do you believe that this actually happened this way? Are you stupid? Or are you trying to like morph the thing in your own head, in your own subconscious?
Well, like when it was showing his perspective, it made it look like she was constantly flirting with him. Because like when they did that initial kiss, it showed like he leaned into it, but she was like taken aback. But it looked like she was like, oh, this guy's kind of cool, sort of thing. But when it was her perspective, he leaned into it and he's like, or no, she's like, this guy's a freak.
Right.
But his perspective, he's like, he thought she was into it.
Yeah.
And then the conversations they were having, I'm sure that was like in his head a little bit too.
Yeah.
And then like when she was just like looking at him while she was dancing with Matt Damon, like, see, she loves me.
Yeah, that part hit me hard because it's like the idea there is that in Legree's eyes, in his perspective, it looks like a girl smiling at him, and he takes that as, oh, she might like me. But in Marguerite's perspective, she's just being nice. Smiling, but when she smiles at him, she's telling her husband, sometimes you just need to smile at people for them to make them feel okay. Yeah. And then she smiles on that command when she says that. Almost like she's proving a point to her husband, like, this is how you get away with things. But if she only knew how much that would come to bite her back, you know? Yeah. But it's like those little things that maybe you don't think about it in real life. Like those little micro, I'm not going to say aggressions. That's not the right. Micro mannerisms, micro things that you do throughout the day that might deeply, subconsciously affect another person.
Yeah, like just everyone takes everything in whatever perspective they see. So if Adam Driver's like is already crushing on her, like he's gonna interpret everything as like some sort of sign. Right. But if he wasn't, he would probably be like, oh, she's just being nice. Right. She was like butt ugly. He would have been like, what a nice woman. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. But yeah, it's just like perspective. Jesus.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't agree with I understand the idea of microaggression.
Oh, here we go.
But I don't necessarily agree with like, let's stop microaggression.
Oh, here we go.
Because I think the
political
Adrian. Let me put on my political cap. The idea is like, we shouldn't do microaggressions because they can deeply affect someone.
What are microaggressions?
It's like being snarky. It's like a
like passive aggressive.
Yeah, it's like passive aggressiveness.
But you don't want that to stop?
Not necessarily. I don't want it to stop, but I don't want people to say we should completely ban that. Like, focus instead on being aware of it,
of your aggressions,
of someone else's like microaggressions, and understand that that's just them and their attitude, you know? Like, don't let it affect you as much. Yeah. Because if you take away all that, you know how much dialogue you're eliminating from life? Like, you're trying to eliminate?
I don't get your point.
I'm trying to say that a lot of people are saying microaggressions are very, very hurtful, and we should try as much as we can to eliminate them.
I'm trying to think of, because the only thing I can think of is passive aggressive, but what are other
There's I'm trying to think.
I think passive aggressiveness should be taken away, but not like outlawed. Just you fix the person, they're never going to be passive aggressive. That sort of thing.
I don't think so. Well, it's because you can take the issue with microaggression is that you can take anything almost as a microaggression. Like, you grab a cup of water and you leave it right there, and I'm like, you leave, and I'm like, that's a microaggression. He did that.
You left that to mess with me. I know you did.
Exactly.
Well, then that guy needs a fixing too. It's fixing on both sides.
But instead, let's say you did that on purpose. You left the bottled water there just to mess with me.
Criminal mastermind.
I should be strong enough to be okay with that, you know?
Whoa, that's a big ask.
I should be strong enough to deal with that.
Yes.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, let's not focus so much on eliminating it. Let's focus on being whole enough in our heart, strong enough in our brain to not get hurt by those kind of things.
I agree, but you should also fix the passive aggressive person.
Yeah. But that's a lot harder than fixing yourself.
For you, I guess.
What did the great poet and lyricist Michael Joe Jackson say? I'm going to start with the man in the mirror. Okay.
Oh my God.
I know there's a way, I think he said.
Okay. Sick.
Yeah. Shout out to MJ. Or maybe not shout out. We'll get right back into this movie after this break. So, with the accusation of rape back then, it was a big deal.
Right.
It's still a big deal today.
Right.
But back then, it was actually frowned upon.
Unlike today.
So, when Marguerite tells her husband, Carouge, what happened, their plan is to take him to court.
Mm-hmm.
The flip side is that by taking him to court, better yet, by taking him to court, he's going to lose in court because our boy Ben Affleck is homeboys with Legree.
Yep.
And Affleck plays a count. He's basically like a mayor, you could say, and he's going to side with his boy. So instead of taking him to court, he wants a battle to the death. What that means is that one of them's going to die. But it also means if Carouge loses and he dies, Marguerite is going to be burned to death. She did not know this going into this agreement.
Idiot.
But can you imagine?
Yeah.
That's such a weird time when you, and it's what they call like bearing false witness. The idea is if you're lying in court, you deserve to die, and it's not an easy death. You're gonna get burned alive, and that sort of triggers this sort of. It triggers Marguerite to look at her husband differently, first of all, but it triggers this alternate sort of storyline of like a man's ego and pride with like him wanting his pride becoming first before the actual incident and the actual pain that had happened to Marguerite. And that's pretty heavy back then, you know, like Marguerite was pretty brave to even speaking up against her husband.
Right.
And Damon sort of plays it perfectly. Have you noticed Damon, like, we'll get into his career in a bit, but this guy's like, he hasn't really had this role where everyone sort of likes him, like a superstar role, other than Bourne, I guess. But even in Bourne, he's sort of this stoic guy. He's never had a breakout role where he's a lovable hero. Actually, I haven't seen The Martian, but maybe that's the movie.
I was going to say Martian.
But he's playing another like sleazy guy. The Departed, Interstellar.
Yeah.
When you think of Damon, do you think of A-list?
Yeah.
But you don't think Tom Cruise, Leo?
What do you,
can he do everything that the top guys can do?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's just not, he's more of like a dad looking dude. He's not like a Leo heartthrob kind of look. Like looks really do matter.
Yeah.
Like he's like a good looking dude, but he's not a Leo good looking dude.
But is he a Matthew good looking dude?
Matthew
McConaughey?
No. It's like there's no such thing as like stars anymore. Like there's no, I guess maybe like Robert Downey Jr. would be the next generation, Chris Evans. That's because like the Marvel movies are so big, but Leo, Ben Affleck, George Clooney, like those were the past stars. Like the new stars, that's Robert, Chris Evans. You know?
Yeah. I'm just trying to think, like, I can never see Damon being this like a wholesome guy that everyone loves. Or even strike that. I can't see him as a guy without with a big personality. I always see him like in one specific way. Where vice versa, I could see a bunch of different actors doing that.
Maybe.
And I think he's going for that. You know what I mean? Like he's picking these roles because he sort of can do it.
Yeah.
On the other hand, our boy Adam Driver, this guy can do almost anything.
He's something else, isn't he?
And it's sort of unfair because, like, if you look at Damon's role as Carouge, he's very stoic. He's kind of dumb in a way.
Mm-hmm.
He's like uses his sword before his brain type of guy. But then you have a guy with a role like Legree's. There's so much more you can give to it, and Driver just does it up. We've talked about it before, but his face is just so weird, and it works.
Yeah.
And like you said, this guy's humongous.
Yeah.
I think Ben Affleck's like the same size as him. So it's kind of weird to notice that like the difference between them two. But maybe it's like a passing of the torch.
Okay. I don't think it's like that.
Like Affleck's like, this guy.
You're the next tall guy in Hollywood.
Not necessarily tall guy, but I see me in you.
They're like not even that far apart age-wise. They're like 15 years difference.
Right. Hey, man, you can still pass the torch to someone 15 years younger.
I guess.
But no, I think Driver's a far superior actor than Affleck.
Yeah. It's like we're also in like a new age where you really have to have a range to act in. Like I think back then it was more like it's Leo playing Leo in this movie. And even now he's kind of doing different stuff, I guess, but still it's a lot of Leo in his movies.
Yeah.
Where Adam Driver, I could see him being a little more like fluid.
Yeah, he's very adaptive. I could see him in any role that Leo did, any role that Matt Damon did, any role that Affleck does.
Like he's going to do House of Gucci.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's going to be like way different than this.
Yeah, I think he plays like a passive husband in that movie.
I can't wait.
So that's something different. He's in freaking
Star
he's
Wars.
Kylo Ren. He's a Sith.
He was 30 and he played like a teenager.
Yeah.
And, like it worked.
Yeah. Cuz when he shaves, he has I wouldn't call it boyish, but he doesn't look old.
Yeah.
Which is weird. But yeah, him as this like at first you sort of like him, but then he just becomes sleazier and sleazier. And then obviously the final crime of him becoming a rapist was just too much. And by the time Jodie's story is being told, Marguerite's story, I'm just full on like, come on, we got to win this, Marguerite. Like we got to convince him. And even though you hate Carouge as well, you have to root for him, because without him, she dies.
Yep.
And the culmination in the final scene, when Carouge and Legree are fighting, I'm just dying. There's this thing that happens to me when oh well, hopefully that picks it up. There's this thing that happens to me when I watch UFC fights, and I just get incredibly nervous, and my heart rate just like is pounding, and I can't control it. My hands get all sweaty and everything. I felt the exact same thing.
I felt nervous during it. I want to know, like, come on. Because it lasted longer than I thought it would. Because I didn't know that's how those battles went. I thought they would just, like, impale each other at one point.
What is that thing when they do?
Jousting?
Yeah, so they jousted at first.
Yeah.
And then the horses died.
Then they just got to go hand to hand.
Yep.
Which was cool. And it was, like, so meaty, the hits.
Yeah. And that's something Ridley has in his arsenal of doing movies like Gladiator, Black Hawk Down. He knows how to do like action sequences like that. But yeah, the fight was brutal. It was going both ways. There's
Mhm.
multiple times when you're like, oh, it's over for this guy. It's over for that guy.
Yep.
And even when it was like over, I didn't feel like it was over,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is part of the purpose.
It's never really over.
And even in the final scene where you see Marguerite with her son
Mm-hmm.
playing in like the field, she's happy, and then she has like all of a sudden this stoic face,
The dead stare.
the dead stare as she looks out into the wilderness, and you're like, yeah, it's
Traumatized.
It's never over.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of these actors before we talk about the end of this movie. Matt Damon.
Classic.
What's your favorite Matt Damon movie? There's Good Will Hunting, there's The Departed, there's Bourne, obviously Bourne series, Ocean's 11, then there's some random movies that you might like.
Probably Goodwill.
Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy that that's his first movie and that's what you like most about him?
He nailed it.
It's crazy, man.
It's good.
And I think it will epitomize. It'll be like his lasting legacy
Uh-huh.
as far as like artistically.
Yeah. Because he wrote it too, so it's like, that's Matt Damon right there.
Jodie Comer. So she's kind of new to the game as far as movies go. She's been in a bunch of TV shows.
Mhm.
We just saw her in Free Guy.
Oh, that was her.
Yep. And she was
Okay.
Rey's mother in Rise of Skywalker.
I don't remember what she looked like.
Me neither. But this movie, wow, she plays it extraordinary. You
Uh-huh.
believe everything Oh man, the amount of acting, she had to act like 3 different ways, you know?
Yeah.
Cuz she had to act well, actually all of them had to act 3 different ways cuz they
Yeah.
had 3 different stories, but like her level of like her gauge of acting different had varied the most,
Mm-hmm.
and she did a great job, I think.
Yep.
This movie is going to be, I think, on the top tier for her, like in her legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Driver, another great performance by our boy, The Drive. Star Wars,
Yeah.
is that your favorite movie of this?
No.
Black Klansman, Marriage Story, Silence, which you haven't seen, but it's made by Scorsese. House of Gucci coming out soon. Another one by Ridley Scott, by the way.
Probably Black Klansman.
I'm gonna say Marriage Story. I really like that movie.
Trash.
Or this. Actually, I'll say this movie. To me, this is his best performance from what I've seen. All you got is gasps.
Yeah. What?
Ben Affleck.
Um.
Can I just say he was so weird in this movie, but it worked so good.
Yeah, in the trailer, he looked goofy. I was like, this feels off. But then in the movies, like, he's goofy all the time.
Yeah,
So I was like, okay, I understand why he looks like that.
with the blonde hair
Yeah.
that doesn't match him at all.
Yeah. It worked.
And he was gonna play Legree originally,
Of course.
but scheduling conflict, so he decided to take a step back.
Uh-huh.
So he promoted his boy Driver.
That's funny.
But this movie would have been obviously way different. It would have been weird too, because like we all know that Damon and Affleck have like a friendship since like high school or whatever.
Yeah.
So to see that like sort of meta story,
It would have been cool.
that would have been cool.
A little backstory with the movie.
Yeah. But yes. Favorite movie of Affleck. We have Pearl Harbor. Have you ever seen Pearl Harbor?
No.
So weird. Armageddon, Daredevil, The Town, Argo, Gone Girl.
Probably Gone Girl.
I need to watch Gone Girl again. I sort of forget, like, I know it was good, but just sort of forget it.
Gone Girl.
I think Affleck's performance in this is perfect, even though it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott. Come on, man.
Ridley Diddley.
Ridley did.
Our boy Ridley Diddley.
We have a poster in this room right here of Alien. That
From
that
the
just
Ridley.
goes to tell you how much I appreciate our boy Ridley Diddley.
Indeed.
What's your favorite Ridley Diddley movie? We have Alien, Blade Runner, Black Hawk Down, Gladiator. I'll throw in Kingdom of Heaven as one of my favorites of his.
Probably Alien or Blade Runner. Just maybe Blade Runner, just because it's more better looking.
No, it's not better looking.
I mean, I could see the argument, but shut up. You know.
If anything, Blade Runner is like more muddy. It's more muddy than Neon.
Muddy can look good.
No, yeah, that's true. But there's sort of this like idea that Blade Runner is all like neon signs and all this, but it's not that. You know, that's like the lasting image because like you see that one scene.
Yeah.
But it's mostly just like rain in the dark.
That looks good.
Yeah, sure, yeah. I was just saying like there's this idea that it's all like neon and everything, but it's not. I have to say obviously Alien, but Blade Runner is really good. This goes back. It made me think, looking at his filmography, how varied it is. That he doesn't have like this. He's in our tour, but in a different way, and it made me think of Fukunaga, Carrie from Bond, where you're like, his thing is that he just makes good movies, and I think the same could be said by Ridley.
True.
Ridley Diddley.
But we kind of miss with Prometheus a bit. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it.
Yeah.
So I think we'll have to see where he goes this late into his career.
Well, look at this movie.
Yeah.
Like, he still has it.
Yeah.
And he's doing 2 movies in a year, dude. His next movie's coming out next month, right? House of Gucci?
Can't wait. I want that to be so good that I could say it's my favorite movie. Because it looks so, like, pristine.
I honestly think it's not going to be that good.
Shut your mouth hole.
And I say that because the trailer, obviously.
I like the trailer.
I don't. After watching it so many times, I'm just like, you know what?
I just watched it once.
Doesn't look that good.
Well,
obviously, trailers are trailers.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the trailer. I mean, I liked the trailer for this movie, but it didn't, like, sell me to what the movie was really about.
Right.
So
which it shouldn't.
Yeah.
There's, like, a case where it shouldn't.
I think trailers are just too, like, mainstream pushed.
Yeah.
So it's never going to be what the movie is.
Right. Yeah, because, like, I sort of want the trailer to just give me the tone of the movie.
It should.
I don't really care if it's... I don't care to see all the action parts or, like, the funny parts. Just give me, like, a tone and maybe, like, one plot line. And that's what I'm good with. But I know to sell it, that's... You can't sell a movie with tone.
Action shots.
Yeah.
Cut. Flip.
Great soundtrack in the back.
Yeah.
I love to love you, baby.
Yeah.
Can I give a shout out to the actor who played King Charles?
No.
In this movie?
Sure.
In the movie, King Charles is like a 15-year-old boy. And he's so giddy when he has to announce that there has to be a fight to the death. And you can see it, and everyone laughed in the theaters when they saw that.
Yeah, there's a little laughter in the theaters.
Yeah, he's great. Like you said, this movie didn't make any movie in the money in the box office.
Yeah. My theater was a little packed though.
Mine too.
Maybe it's a sleeper hit.
They are gonna put it on streaming, or video on demand, whatever. I don't know. Obviously, not that many people want to watch medieval movies anymore. And I guess it's more of an artsy-fartsy movie.
A little bit.
Like, it leans on that side more than it does, like, on the gladiator side. So it's sort of hard to sell in that regard. That being said, I want a world where I can watch these kind of movies. But if this movie, if it's going to do what it's most likely going to do, which is fail in the box office, because it cost $100 and made like $5 million, they're less likely to make this kind of movie. I think the solution is that no one knows?
I know.
Go.
I saw a TikTok that explained how it should go.
Mm.
And it said basically these kind of movies should be just bought by Netflix or Hulu or whatever, and then have like limited runs in theaters. Because, I mean, Netflix makes boatloads of money from just subscriptions where they can just like farm a ton of money by doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So buying like this $100 million movie, like it's just going to boost their collection.
But I want to see it in theaters.
Limited run.
Yeah. Yes. But like, I think there obviously has to be. Oh my God, what the hell's going on here? There has to be an end to the money well, you know?
No.
Like, I don't think there is a bottomless pit of money.
Well, they're not going to buy anything. But like Ridley Scott, they're going to buy that. They're not going to buy a $100 million movie made by Joe Schmo over here.
Uh-huh.
Like if it's just an idea, but if like with like Bo Burnham, his special, he made that like all on his own, and then Netflix bought it, like pre-made pretty much.
Yeah.
For like 10 milli.
Yeah.
So it's just like stuff like that where if it's pre-made, it's like, yeah, looks good, buy it. Ridley Scott, sure, we'll fund it. 100 million, here you go. And that's
Right.
like Netflix presents a Ridley Scott movie. It's like, wow, they got Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
the
I
only
guess
way.
that is the way. Yeah, and as long as they do like limited run, I'll be happy with that, because I've noticed going to the movies for this movie, and what was the last movie? Bond. How much I love it.
Wow.
I love it. And it just makes a world of difference, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just being there, focused on one thing, lights low.
I think the issue would be if like the Oscars or whoever, like those people, because they don't really like Netflix, they're gonna be
Right.
like, they're gonna fight Netflix for like whatever. Hopefully, like Netflix can just strike a deal straight with like AMC or whoever. Say, look, we're buying these movies. We'll give you like $1 million, just limited run or whatever, however it works, right?
Yeah.
And then that's how it's gonna be.
Yeah, they almost need like they need to do some kind of partnership with AMC where like two out of the 18 rooms are Netflix specific.
That too.
That would actually be pretty awesome too, because I think we've talked about this before, but back in the Disney, they used to like show random movies like from 20 years ago, 20
Mhm.
years previous, 30 years previous at theaters, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I know we're showing whatever the latest movie is, Spider-Man,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't have any more films to put in the theaters. Let's just put it on like Halloween, the original version.
Yeah.
And I sort of wish that theaters would still do that. AMC does do that, but not too often. But what if they had a room specifically for Netflix or specifically for Disney, whatever, HBO, and they can show whatever Netflix movie of the week there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's not a Ridley Scott movie, maybe it's like The Kissing Booth, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that'd be cool just to have like a movie constantly in rotation there that you can go see.
Yeah.
And maybe at a discounted price, or maybe it's like a tacked on membership thing. Like,
Have a little Netflix credit card.
yeah,
Doop.
like I'm a exclusive member of Netflix, which is like $30 a month, and I
Okay,
get to
don't
go
say that now. Don't put that into the atmosphere.
because it's what, $17 right now.
Yeah.
So add another. It won't be $30. It'll be like $5 more to go to the theaters.
I'd say like not even just like $5 at the door. Like you pay $5, you can watch your Netflix movie.
Like a
of the day.
discounted rate.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'd prefer that than another $10 a month.
Yeah. Because you wouldn't go out so often, right?
Yeah.
Right. And you would assume that they wouldn't. Well, I don't know. Maybe they would have a lot of movies there.
Or tack it onto the AMC Premiere thing and be like, with this, if you have a Netflix account, you get free access to Netflix movie of the month,
Right.
week, day, whatever.
Yeah.
And they could be like unlimited because AMC has like 3 per week.
Yep.
You'd be like, this, no limit.
Yeah. No Limit Records.
Shut up.
Master P. Oh.
Nobody knows what that is.
You don't know what that is.
Nobody.
You.
I'm on the pulse of the culture.
Let's take a quick break and we'll talk about our favorite scene of the movie. Favorite scenes of the movie. Ivan.
Yeah.
I love, as far as like how it looked, I love the scene where Carouge and Legree are talking by the fireplace.
Yeah.
Beautifully lit. I love how the fireplace is as big as, it's like 7 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh man, what a time to be alive back then.
Not really.
You would not want to live back then. I love the scene where they're at the trial.
Yeah.
And Carouge and Legree have to be all theatrical. And Carouge throws his glove down. And then Legree like whips his robe.
I love that.
Picks it up.
And I like how they mic the robe so hard.
Yeah.
It's like
You're like, God damn. Is that a gust? Is that Pidgeot with his gust, with their gust attack or something?
It's strong.
So good. Shout out to Ridley. You know what you're doing. The interrogation of Marguerite. Jesus Christ. Some things were revealed to me at that time that I didn't know back then, where they thought that you could only get pregnant by pleasure.
Yeah.
By experiencing pleasure during sex.
Yeah.
So if you got raped, you could never get pregnant. And I was like, wow.
I think I've heard like modern politicians say something like that.
Yeah. No, yeah. The Texas governor, he was like, we're going to abolish birth control, right? Or was it abortion, right?
Yeah.
And then they asked him, but what about the people that get pregnant after rape? And he's like, we're going to abolish people getting raped. No, we're going to abolish raping. I was like, you can't abolish raping.
My hero.
Now that's my president. But yeah, the interrogation of Marguerite, just like the church being like so accusatory against her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you sure this really happened? And all those
like,
little
wink,
things.
Wink, you're gonna be in a lot of pain. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Take it back.
Like, do you know that if this happens, you're gonna get burnt to death?
Mm-hmm.
Some say it takes 30 hours for you to die.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God. So bad.
Yep. Those were the days.
Those were the days. Obviously, the fight between Carouge and Legree is just nail biting at its peak.
Juicy.
What did he say before he killed him?
Well, he said, like, if I'm lying, then my soul will be damned. And then he's like, then let your soul be damned.
Ivan, don't bring back those memories. That was loud too, huh?
Yeah. They stayed on it for so long, too.
Yeah.
Like, a lot longer than I thought. And I could hear, like, the audience be like, ooh, come on.
I love one action sequence when they went to go fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Carouge there's like a sword sticking out of the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and he grabs the guy's head and he's like,
yeah,
impales him. I'm like, oh, nice. Game of Thrones be damned.
Mm-hmm.
Take that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great fight sequence. And then when the king was watching the fight, and he's like, kill him.
Yeah.
He can't wait. He's just a little kid.
What a weirdo.
Dumb kid. And then poor Legree, he passes away from a strike to the mouth.
Most gruesome gruesome kill ever.
And his best friend, the Count, our boy Ben Affleck, he's crying over there. And that sort of gives me like the thing of like there was obviously like this romantic connection between them. Maybe even if it wasn't sexual, they still had this weird kind of bond between them. Because it was sexual, actually, because they had like threesomes together, you know?
Yeah.
But, wow. Just wow. Good job, Ben Affleck. Selling it.
Mm-hmm.
Your boy got killed. And then he got stripped naked and ran through the town.
That's cool.
How like fast everything changed, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, let's go. We'll agree. Kick his ass. I was like, all right, let's kill this guy. Strap into the horse. Get him out of here.
It's just funny because like the whole thing is based off like whoever wins
is right,
and that's like it. Like there's no like, oh, he lost, so
like if you kill him, you told the truth.
Yeah.
But if he kills you, you are a liar.
Yeah, and there was like no, that was it. So I'm guessing like once he lost, he's like, oh, she was telling the truth. And that was like the logic back then.
Right. Because God would allow.
Yeah.
God will kill the person who's
right.
Yeah.
And it was just funny like the whole time that's how like they thought. But
people still think that. In certain aspects, you know? Like when people say God has his like plan for me. Like if it's my time to die, it's because God planned it for me.
Well, I think that's different from like a skill based, like if like some.
No, because they still think that. Like if I died, it's because God is ready.
But like
for
if
me.
LeBron like loses, like I guess God wanted them to win more than me.
Yeah, that's what people think.
Well, I don't know. That's weird.
But that's religion, man. That's like how deep religion has it.
I guess
they got that locked, squared away. Free will, baby. Free will. Let's rate this movie, Evan. Well, what's your favorite scene?
The killing at the end. Yeah, it was like finally like.
I have here the sexual counter, but it's not my favorite scene. But it's very, very gruesome.
Yeah. It's a good scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's rate this movie, Evan. Out of 5 tickets.
5 nights.
Okay, 5 nights. 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. Nights because it is a movie full of nights. Ivan, how many nights does this movie get?
3.75.
Jesus Christ, you're one of those guys.
That's a good score.
You're one of those guys too.
What the?
I was like, you're one of those guys that give very harsh ratings, and then you're also the type of guy that thinks low ratings are pretty good. You got a 1? Dude, be proud.
Yeah, 3.
3.75. I give it a 4.5.
Jesus Christ.
This movie is very,
You're
very
leaving
good.
little wiggle room.
There's very little this movie can do to get. Actually, I should say like the margin between this and a perfect movie is very little.
Okay.
And that's why it's a 4.5. Like there's not a 1.25 difference between this and a perfect movie. There's only a 0.5 difference.
But I just think it's a perfect movie is like 1 in 1,000 or more.
And this isn't this poofy isn't perfect. This movie isn't perfect.
I would say even a 4.5 is like 1 in 500 or something. I'm just saying like the probability of a movie ever being a 4 is so like high or low, however that works.
Yes, for some people.
You're too nice.
Yep. But there's a lot of movies that are 1s. I just don't watch those movies.
Yeah.
Like all Netflix movies are 1s and 2s.
Probably.
Like if okay, what would you give Spider-Man?
Which one?
1.
Give like a 4.
Spider-Man 2?
4.25.
I guess there's also a thing like that's the thing I said last week where the rewatchability.
Yeah, I'd never watch this again.
Exactly. I wouldn't. I would watch it like in 10 years from now.
I would watch the fight scene again
Yeah.
because that one was good.
But I would definitely rewatch Spider-Man 2, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's a different scale, isn't it?
Yeah, because there's like I'm not gonna watch Schindler's List again.
I watch it every day.
Well,
It's my breakfast.
That's good.
That's the only thing that moves me.
Just like the killing of Jews.
Ivan? No.
Well, what do you want me to say?
The heartfelt story behind the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ.
I try not to factor rewatchability because, like,
I think you do though, subconsciously.
well, maybe, but if Spider-Man, I don't know.
Because okay, how about this? Let's say you do want to rewatch this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Would that change your grade?
I would give Spider-Man 3 like a 3, but I would rewatch it so much.
But maybe the 3 is all rewatch points.
Jeez, come on. Now you just want me to be wrong or something.
I was just playing devil's advocate.
No.
I don't think I factor in rewatchability.
Okay.
And yeah, maybe you don't either. But I do think that, like you said, like there's movies that suck that I would rewatch for sure. Like Chamber of Secrets, I've rewatched a lot, but it's not as good.
Mhm.
It's like a 3.
Okay.
So yeah, and this movie I would not rewatch often or at all, but it has a very high ranking for me because everything works pretty well.
Okay.
And it's sort of it had me like on pins and needles because it was just excruciating to watch at times. And that matters a lot, especially with a drama, because like comedies can easily make you physically react, and scary movies can do that too. And action movies can do that somewhat at times, but dramas, if a drama can do that, then come on, man.
Okay.
Give it some points.
3.5.
You went lower?
Yep. Because you tried to change my mind. I don't like that. I went lower.
He's using his points as
This is
leverage.
a microaggression. Does it hurt you?
I'm gonna remember this, and it's gonna hurt me when you walk out of this room. All right, it's time to talk about things that really matter. Things like, Evan. Before we say anything, it's time for a section we like to call
Things and such.
Ivan. Should we just talk about it?
Do it. What an episode of Succession.
Succession released its first episode of the year, the premiere episode for season 3. We last left off with with
I don't know. Kendall.
with Kendall basically putting his dad into harm's way after he himself getting put into harm's way by his dad.
Yeah.
And he's trying to take over the company again. He's going full beast mode, just like his daddy. Ivan, what'd you think about this episode of Succession?
It was so good.
So
It
good.
was delicious. Good.
Yeah.
That's what I needed in my life.
Yeah, I mean, like, all the plots are continuing, right? We get
Yeah.
the battles between siblings, battle between sibling and son. I mean, son and dad. Everything's coming.
It's super interesting to see, like, where everyone wants to go. Because you could see everyone's, like, thinking, like, how do I come out on top? And they're all doing, like, their very tiny little, like, machinations of how things should go.
Uh-huh.
And it's just cool to see.
Yeah, everyone from Greg to and his social media prowess
That was funny.
to Connor trying to save some money from his failed play with his fiance
Mm-hmm.
to Kendall and Logan trying to vie for the company.
Yep.
It's all about power. Yeah.
Do you think he can do it, Kendall?
Well, no, I don't think he can do it. Like, at first I thought he could. Like at the end of last season and the very beginning of this season, this episode, I thought it was going good, but then you can see him sort of getting cokey.
Yeah.
And he's like high on the train and like he thinks it's gonna be like this joyride.
Yeah.
But he himself doesn't like realize that he's a fuck up.
Yeah. I think he can do it. I think. Damn, it's because it could go like so many directions.
But the fun thing about it is that like how they tell the story is where it's at. It's not like the end result.
Yeah.
And I think that can be said for most good shows.
Yeah.
Like I heard something about like the same thing for Game of Thrones. Like it's fun to see how everyone sort of is doing their due diligence to become what they're trying to become. It's not fun to see Bran the Broken take the throne.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like that's not the best thing for it. That's just like the MacGuffin.
Sure.
The good thing is like all the character building, right?
Yep.
But yeah, like they could go so many ways that's what makes it fun.
I think Kendall has to be able to do it. Otherwise, they're going to like kill him off in some way. Because this is like third time sort of thing.
Right.
And like he just came off of killing some kid.
Yes.
And if he doesn't do it, he's like out of the company. And I think if he's out, he's going to like kill himself or something.
Right.
So like either he does it or he dies is what I'm thinking.
Ah. Yeah, he's very self-destructive, especially with his drug habit. Yeah.
Hopefully Roman and Shiv go on his side. I think Shiv's doing that. But we just need Roman to do it because Roman has Jerry and then Shiv's pretty good. She's just smart. Like if they have all three together, I think he can do it.
Yeah. But like you're that would be a happy ending. And maybe the whole family doesn't deserve a happy ending. Like the whole company
Greg
doesn't.
does.
Greg does.
Greg does. He deserves the world.
Greg. He deserves the world.
What if Greg's at the top by then?
No, that would be Brandon Broken.
Have you seen Vice? With it's the vice president with.
Oh no, nope, I haven't.
Because that somewhat happened in that show. That one's more comedy leaning though.
Yeah.
But like the bottom of the barrel dude from season 1, he got to like the top, and he's like the Greg.
Yeah.
Of that show.
Yeah.
So like, it might be a little too unrealistic for this, but maybe Greg's like CEO. Imagine CEO Greg of something.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
Well, you can see him gaining a lot of power just because of like happenstance.
Yeah.
And that's another thing the show keeps like talking about. Just like, what is it when family gets power? Like when you're giving positions to family members?
Oh, I know what you mean, but I don't remember the word.
There's a specific word, right?
Yeah. Nepotism.
Nepotism. Like for Greg to get as far as he's gotten, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just because he's like the grandson of
Cousin Greg.
brother.
Greg the Egg.
Oh, God. I'm interested to see where Shiv and who's her boy? Tom's relationship goes.
I think they're going to break up eventually.
I feel like Tom is going to get a lot of power soon. And that's going to be like what Shiv gravitates.
Oh, it's going to like Tom's going to have the power and he's like, "You know what? I don't like being with you."
Yeah.
And they break up.
No. Tom's like
the power shift and like
he
Tom's
has
big
the
dog.
power and then Shiv's like, that's who I wanted.
It's because Tom's a little too dumb.
Yeah.
Like compared to Shiv. So
Yeah.
I think they would have to break up because I don't think Tom would be smart enough to hold the power over Shiv.
That's true. More so, he wouldn't even be smart enough to get the power.
Yeah, I think he's just gonna break up with her at some point. Like that's the most power he's gonna get. Like I realize I need to be away from you.
Yeah.
I don't know where they would go with that after, but I could see them breaking up and Tom starting it. And then Jerry and what's his face? Kid brother. I think they're gonna be like married. Like for real.
That'd be so weird. Yeah. The movie the show is obviously still hilarious. And it continues like right after where season 2 left off. That was a little surprising, but it's good that like they just kept that thread and they kept going for it.
Yep.
And this episode is all about like continuing the storyline. So there isn't too much like breakthroughs. They do have the new character that is Shiv's like college friend and now Kendall's lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Interested to see where that goes. And
Adrian Brody,
yeah. He's going to be a power player.
Excited.
Yeah. Just into the characters, man. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
I love the little comedy bits too where I love when Greg's like they're walking into the press and he's like, "No comment." No comment. Yeah. She's like, "You don't have to say that."
Classic Greg.
And then he's like, feel like OJ.
Except you didn't kill anyone.
Yeah.
Like, that you know of.
Yeah.
And he's like smiling. That like moment was like so, like that's where I think like he can do it, because he said that and he does not even care.
Yeah.
Like that's
exactly. Yeah, that's a turning point for him.
Yeah.
Because before he would be depressed about it.
Yeah, he was like crying.
And now but that's also a warning time where he's going full Joker, you know?
Yeah. Well, he's like, his dad said, like, you got to be a killer. You're not a killer.
He's like, "Oh, you're good. But you're not a killer."
And I think that's the point where, like, but I literally am a killer. And if I killed someone, I think I could kill this. Like, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think he could do it. He just needs his team.
We'll see.
Yes.
I'm glad that we get this once a week now. That's going to be so good.
Because before it was like, you kind of already, like, we have the 2 seasons.
Uh-huh.
This is like, now we're in the blind and we could predict.
We could feel the heat.
Yeah.
The anticipation.
Yeah.
Cool. Next thing?
Punk.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Young Thug's new album, Punk. Ivan, first thoughts?
Cool moments, but like a lot of it was like classic Gunna core music.
No.
Yes.
I would say primarily cool moments with like he retreaded a little bit. Doing like the same kind of stuff. Like I would say the Drake, there's like 5 songs that sound like a typical Young Thug album.
Okay.
And he should take those out and stick to the thing that he's going with in this album, which is the like R&B version, R&B / like alternative rapper.
It was still weird. I don't know. Like he needs to. I don't think he'll ever do it. I think he's stuck forever for the rest of his life.
This is a breakthrough. This is different than his other albums.
But it's like a baby step breakthrough.
No.
It doesn't feel like the next, like how many albums until I get the Young Thug that I know he is.
But what is that? Like what would that sound like?
I like there's moments in this album where I hear like the artist Young Thug.
Yes.
And that's what I want, like an album of. But he's still like the rapper with the artist. Like he needs to take away the rapper part. Not all the way, like, but just be an artist.
That's like, so the album's like 20 songs or whatever. I think if he took away 6 or 7 of the songs, you would have that.
Okay.
Like you would have just the artist. But there's only a certain amount of like depth that you can get out of Young Thug.
Then he needs to work on himself and get that depth out.
like he had an interview where he was saying that he doesn't like talking too much about his life because even in his songs because he likes to have like some mysteriousness to him.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's ultimately what's sort of hindering him, like you're saying, and that's sort of we can see that's what makes Drake so popular too, like his ability to talk about anything.
And Kanye too. Like
Yes,
we know everything about Kanye.
Yep.
And like Young Thug's work with them too.
Yep.
So if anything, it should show like being like letting what's the word? Opening your heart, showing your feelings.
Yeah.
Like that would only help you.
Right. But yeah, it could be just like him saying, I want to keep it a mystery, but him being scared just to reveal his true feelings.
It's probably that.
But yeah, no, I really think that this album is a big step forward. But it doesn't feel like that because like there's some songs intermixed there.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't say like there's another.
I'll say what I want.
What?
I'll say what I want.
There isn't. I guess what I'm trying to say is that there isn't another step. There's not a big leap that Thug is gonna do that you're expecting. Like that's not gonna happen.
Why?
Because like, what do you mean a leap? Other than
you kick out T-Shine, you kick out Gunna, you kick out the other dude on there.
But what's that? What you have like 12 songs on the album without them.
Yeah.
So it's there.
But I shouldn't have to make a playlist of this album.
True. I mean, yeah. I just think that he went for... There's literally songs on this album that are just pure guitar.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of singing, him trying to sing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more like a croon, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And he does retread, which I think is like the biggest problem with the album. But other than that, I think this album's really good.
Okay.
And I tried to listen to it when I was working out, and I'm like, oh, I don't really like this album. But that's because it's not to work out; it's to like vibe to, you know.
Yeah.
But he sounds so good on just like him singing, even though he can't sing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just sounds so different, and it sounds really good.
Like there's highlights. Like there's really good moments.
Yeah.
But this is corny at times too. Like that one song towards the end with that singer dude.
Yeah.
That was corny.
It was. It's a reach. That's like a pop reach. There's also like the song with Post Malone that I thought was like not the greatest.
That one was a little corny, but it was like it reminded me like of a Sunflower sort of.
Yes.
Like that kind of song.
Yeah.
Like where everyone's gonna just like it.
Yep.
But it was a little corny.
I was listening to one of the songs and it gave me like a flashback of Lil Wayne when he did How to Love. Do you remember that song?
Oh yeah, I know the song. I thought that too.
And I was like, there's that Lil Wayne song that sounds like that. And I listened to How to Love after it, and I sort of compared it, and I just thought to myself like, this is Thug being himself, but that was Lil Wayne singing someone else's pop record that someone produced for him and everything. He just sang it, you know?
Uh-huh.
But we should give some credit to Thug because he's actually like, this is from him.
Mm-hmm.
He might have been influenced by Wayne to have this kind of style, but for him to do this musically, it's a big deal, you know?
Right. Like
it's a rapper doing like a sort of like a, I guess I don't even know what kind of music you would consider it, but it's he's singing.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm gonna give it a grade, are you ready?
Sure.
Ready to blow your mind?
Sure.
I give it a 4 out of 5.
Going by 5 still?
Yeah.
I give it a 2.5.
I understand. I understand why you think that.
Why I know that.
I know. I know why you think that.
You're like trying to make me feel better or something?
No, I'm trying to say that I get your rating. And I get that mine is like even mine. Both of our gradings are subjective.
Not mine.
This is also like, how should I say it? Like he even made Gunna do like things he doesn't do.
Mm-hmm.
Gunna was like trying to be intimate, and Gunna doesn't do that, man.
Mm-hmm.
Gunna don't play like that.
Mm-hmm.
He did it. Give him an extra 0.1 for that. 2.6.
2.6. Okay, I'll give you that.
Ivan.
Look. I just think if he's like the one of the best quote big old quotes in hip hop these days, he should have albums that are generally seen as like 9 or 10s or 4s or 5s. Not like so split where like that was bad, that was good, you know? Like I think good albums, no matter how much you like the genre, you could notice that it's like good.
I know what you mean.
And it's too split to be like, but like to be my own devil's advocate, to give you some ammunition, like Death Stranding, the video game was like super split, but my rationale was that people didn't really get what it was trying to do.
Right.
But I don't know if I could say that about Young Thug, because that like Death Stranding was like, that's a different medium in every way.
Mm-hmm.
That's like that's the only thing where I could say like I'm a hypocrite, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But still, it should be like 4 or 9, you know?
Yeah.
For being the best.
But Drake doesn't have 9s. He hasn't had a 9 in forever.
You gave his last album a 9.
But you didn't. It's decisive, right? It's
I gave it like
you gave it like a 7 or a 6.
I gave it 2.5/7.
Like, I don't think the ones that are clearly are a 9 are masterpieces.
Yeah.
But the ones that are decisive, like the ones that are split, like some people think is really good, some people don't. The reason it's split is because of taste and also history. Like, for the reason I like this album is because I have so much knowledge about like everything around it.
It's just so weird because like music is the one thing where it's like subjective, but you can't really say that about, you can, but you can't really say that about video games or movies or like just straight up art, you know? Like video games, besides gameplay where you could say, oh, the gameplay was literally not well made, but there's still an art form and you could judge it for like storytelling and like all these different things.
Mm-hmm.
Movies like editing, cinematography, all these different things. But suddenly, like music, you can't really judge it that way.
You can.
But people say you can't.
But you can say that about any art then in the same way. Because like there's like dialogue, for example. Dialogue is the same as lyricism.
My point is that you can judge it the same way you can a movie pretty like objectively.
Right.
Maybe it's harder for music, but if I think you could judge a movie pretty objectively, and then 1 point lower or higher is just based on like, oh, I love Spider-Man. Another point, you know?
What about the idea of like maybe you shouldn't be rating something that you don't like?
So 0 out of 10. 0
No,
to
like
5.
you shouldn't. Like a guy that listens to rock shouldn't rate a Young Thug album because he won't know the intricacies behind the Young Thug album.
But I like Young Thug.
But you don't. That's my take.
I don't love him.
Like you don't like for the same way you don't like what's a damn rapper like Gunna, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't like Gunna, so you should never rate his album because you don't appreciate what what Gunna has to offer.
But I see what they bring. I'm not like, oh, he's trash. Like
no, but you see the things that you like, but you don't like who they are. Like Gunna is Gunna. You like Gunna for maybe like a little bit of his flow, right?
Yeah.
Like a strand of it.
Yeah.
But if you really liked Gunna, you would like the main strand of him, but you don't like that.
I can't articulate how wrong you are.
That's a nice scapegoat. I know it's not completely like that's not a completely thought out thing that I'm saying, but I think there's something to it where it's like you can never really give something its true grade unless you kind of like its principle.
But I do kind of like it. I like Gunna in spurts, but I don't like an album of Gunna because it's very similar.
Right.
Whereas Kanye, I won't bring up Kanye.
I listened to Ye.
Okay.
And that's way better than.
You're so weird.
But you know what? The parts that I love in Ye are the parts where Kanye isn't talking. It's like everyone else's additions.
Because sitting on Donda, there's like a good amount of songs I would take off. Not because they're bad. Because like the worst songs on there, I'm still going to like, obviously, because it's Kanye. But there's like a good handful of songs where like this is really good. And there's like a couple where like this is top tier Kanye. And I think that's fair or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. What was Gunna? What was the point of this? Gunna. I just don't like how it doesn't feel like an improvement ever. And I think I have to get out of just rap and see how like other genres do it. Because I've only seen music in the scope of rap. If I go into like, I'm not going to go pop, but
EDM.
Something like, and then just immerse myself in it and see who the Kanye is of EDM, who the Gunna is of EDM. Because I'm sure there's like parallels in every genre. So I want to see if there's like, if I could see some sort of pattern, but still like EDM as much as I like rap, which is kind of hard to make myself do.
Yeah. I think like what critics like is change.
Right.
And change is seen by some as like evolution.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's just change. I'm thinking about like Drake's last album. A lot of people didn't like it because it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But he does it so well. And I'm like, well, it's better than everything else. And yes, it might be Views Part 2 or whatever. But it's still top quality. You know? And that's the thing for me. Like, if something is good, then it should be good. It doesn't... It should be judged on that too, you know? I get you judging it on like its past work, but it should also be judged on what it brings to the table
what
itself.
It is now.
Yeah.
Yes, but I don't settle. If there's one thing you should know about me, is that I don't settle. Oh God,
here he goes.
I just think like that, but unironically, in a way, like you gotta kind of not settle for 7 out of 10s. And I'm like, I like the Drake album. Like I'll listen to it, but I want better from him. And I don't think that's like a bad thing.
Right. That isn't.
It's just, And then I don't think it's a bad thing to say like you like him doing the same thing,
Right.
but I just want better.
And that's the thing. Young Thug did better. He did different.
Yes. But I want even better from him. Maybe I'll never be satisfied.
Oh God, I can't wait till Kendrick's album comes out. That way we can have a
Fight?
true pitchfork grading session.
That's going to be gruesome.
I think my hot take is gonna be like, he's actually got worse.
Probably.
There's nowhere
I
to
don't
go.
know. I Damn was good, but it wasn't the other albums good. But if anyone else made Damn, we would have been like, this guy's up next. This guy is next. This guy's past. That's how next he is.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay. So basically, our consensus is Last Duel. You liked it. I loved it. Succession. We loved it.
Yeah.
Pink. Oh,
Punk.
that's another thing.
Punk.
Oh, Punk. Sorry. Pink is my other boy's album
The
coming
other
out.
album we're going to fight over.
The idea of like the extra stuff that doesn't go into the music, but we still grade it, which is like the album artwork, the name of the album,
Yeah.
and the rollout for the album.
Uh-huh.
Like I think the album artwork fits with the music,
Yeah.
but the name is Punk. No way. Like he should have named it something else. Punk gives, it's like what you were saying about Kanye's about Drake's artwork.
Oh,
Like
okay.
that artwork is for a different album.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
name is for a different album.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because like with a name like Punk, it's so like, papa,
And it makes you think of certain things, you know?
like Punk.
Yeah. Like Punk, and like since it's one word, it makes you think of like boom, you
Like
know?
this is it sort of thing.
Yeah.
And in some ways it was, but it wasn't. This is it enough.
Yeah. A better album title would have helped, at least like mentally, how I digest the album, which is weird.
Slime Language 5.
Oh God.
Super slimy.
No, he should have just called it Rattlesnake. That would have been cool.
Slippery snake.
Rattlesnake, because like a rattlesnake's brown.
This cover's pink.
No, it's brown.
It's like magenta.
Yeah, that's it. Anything else for the beautiful people out there?
No. What's next week? Dune?
I think it is.
Tune in next week to Dune.
What a whip.
Thanks.
Next time, just do a nene to finish it off.
Don't say that.
Yep, we're doing Dune next week. Any music next week? I feel like
Supposed to have a Cardi album like a month ago. Thank God.
I don't think that was an album, was it? Narcissist?
It was, but not anymore.
Oh, Cardi.
He's like, he wants to be Kanye, but nobody should want to be like Kanye.
He doesn't want to be Kanye.
Yes.
He wants to be like, I don't know what he wants to be.
I mean, he wants to be himself, obviously, but he loves like how Kanye is the biggest ever. And Cardi has like that kind of energy where he's really the only one doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
He wants to be Cardi Kanye. But
I wish Cardi just put out like 10-track albums every year. I'd be happy with that.
he could.
It's just like do what Lil Uzi Vert does, which is like he doesn't really care about anything else but
Close.
being rich and making music.
Yeah. I can't wait for like, I mean, I guess I won't be able to tell, but like 10 years from now, seeing like where Cardi ended up, where Uzi ended up. Because like I have predictions in my head how like all their entire life will go for like every artist. So I want to see like how right I am how wrong I was. Who like came out on top? You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think rap's done?
No. It's the biggest it's ever been.
I mean, there's always a rise before a fall.
There's always a rise before a fall, yes.
The night's always darkest before the dawn.
I mean, I think it's reached its peak. And it will fall, but I don't think it's done by any means.
Because Lil Nas X he doesn't really even rap anymore. Like it's rap, but it's more
Pop.
yeah, but even more pop than rap. Like
Yeah.
if Drake was Drake was rap pop, Nas is pop rap.
But Drake is rap pop on his singles, but his albums are sort of like dirty.
Dirty.
Like they're Toronto cold.
Don't ever
You like that?
try to be cool like that again.
They're Toronto ice cold.
But it's still like, it's not like
He gets judged because he released
he's not.
Hold On, We're Going Home. But if you listen to his album, it's like very,
But it's not rap like Benny the Butcher rap. You know,
yeah.
it's still
It's R&B tinged.
yeah. And even like it's hard. What would you say? What was the verb?
Ice cold. Toronto cold.
But it's still like Drake's version. I don't know. How am I saying this? Because I think he made this like pop rap era, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whatever he makes is going to be pop rap, even if it's icy cold.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be remembered for his pop rap, at least.
Yeah. Whatever. I don't care. I don't know. I mean, pop never died. Like, pop's just always been like the thread of music forever, right?
Yeah.
And then rap rises, country rises, but pop, 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 you know?
Yeah. Pop just takes from the culture.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, country's popular right now? Okay, we're going to have a lot of country songs. Oh, rap's popping? Oh, reggaeton's popping? Oh, EDM's popping?
Crazy. I don't know. I do think it's kind of done, but I just can't picture what else there would be.
Well, rap was born from the crack epidemic in the 80s. 70s, late 70s, early 80s.
The next epidemic? Pandemic. Oh my God.
We're living it.
We're going to see the next era of rap right now.
Next era of music. Maybe.
I got to talk to someone.
All right, people. This was another great episode of Peliculas with the Bros. We'll be back next week. We'll be talking about Dune. We're excited. Ivan, any parting words for the beautiful people?
None at all.
Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. Please follow us on any podcast platforms. Peliculas with the Bros. If you like movies, check us out. Peace out.
Bye.